Good morning. My name is Amy Walsh, and today we're going to talk a little bit about Smartlist Builder basics. This is going to be an overview of what you can do and what you can get with Smartlist Builder. I prepared several slides, and we'll actually go through some examples of different types of smart lists that you can build using the Smartlist Builder. So let's get started. So what you get with Smartlist Builder. Smartlist Builder is actually an extension of Dynamics GP, and it also allows you to create additional SmartList reports. If you're familiar with SmartList, you know that you go to Microsoft Dynamics GP, click on the drop down, and then you see SmartList. There are a lot of canned SmartList reports in there that you can use to query. You can also use these to change and then save, modify. And the other great thing about Smartlist Builder, or Smartlist in general, it allows you to query data real time and direct from the SQL tables. So that's an awesome little bonus there. So what's included in this webinar? What we're going to talk about, and like I said, this is going to be Smartlist Builder, the basics. This is just to get you started. But what's included in this webinar is we're going to talk about security and granting access to Smartlist builders. And those are going to be the people that you are going to allow to build the smart list, the new ones that you need. We're also going to talk about creating a new smart list using Smartlist Builder functionality. We're going to go through creating a new smart list using a SQL view. We are going to go through the go-to function, and we're going to talk about some field options for display and export to Excel. This will be formatting your new smart list. We're also going to talk about a different type of security where it's actually granting the access to the new smart list that your smart list builders have built. Okay. So first of all, let's talk about security and granting access to Smartlist builders. Okay, two things you need to keep in mind here, because what happens is when people jump right into Smartlist Builder and want to build a new smart list, they come up against the challenge of not having access to the right windows. So by default, the Smartlist Builder windows have been denied access. However, if you are a power user or you have the power user role assigned to your user, you will have access to the Smartlist Builder windows. But if you do not want your Smartlist builders to have access to everything by granting them access to the power user role, I want to show you how to just give them access to Smartlist. Okay, so I'm going to go over to virtual machine over here, and what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at Dynamics GP security. So first of all, what we want to do, and this is what we're going to do, is we're actually going to create a role here. Next slide here. So in security, creating a role for Smartlist builders, we're wanting to go to Microsoft Dynamics GP, Tools, Setup, System, and Security Task. And we're going to look at this task, and what we're going to do is create a task. And then we're going to take the task and assign it to a role, then we'll assign the role to the user. So if we go over to Microsoft Dynamics GP, Tools, Setup, System, and Security Task, we're going to create a task called Smartlist. Well, actually, I'm going to call it Smartlist Builders. And over here in category, I'm going to actually assign this to the company. And then in the product field, click on the drop down, and you want to go down to Smartlist Builder. And in the type field, click the drop down again and go to Smartlist Builder Permissions. in the series, what you want to do is click Smartlist Builder. And then you'll notice on the access list, you have several options. There is a create a go-to that opens the Dynamics GP form, create a go-to that opens a file, several create a go-tos. Create smart list with SQL tables, intercalculated fields, update smart list, view smart list with SQL tables. Now, if you have someone who is, your designated smart list builder, more than likely you will want to mark all and give them access to everything. Now, if you don't want them to enter calculated fields or update smart list or create go-tos, then simply uncheck the boxes, and that will take the access away from this particular task ID. However, in this case, I'm going to mark them all because I want to have access to everything. Now I'm going to click Save. And that was my task. So now I'm going to go back to Tools, Setup, System, and Security Roles, because I have to assign my task I just created to a role. And remember, we're going to assign the role to the user. I kind of find it easier if I create a task and I'm creating a role, is I try to use the same naming conventions throughout. It makes it a little bit easier to find them later. Okay, so once I have my role here, I'm going to find my task, which I called it Smart List. Here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Smartlist Builders. And now I'm going to click Save. Now for any users, if I go to Microsoft Dynamics GP, Tools, Setup, System, and then I'm going to go to User Security. If I choose one of my users here, here's an Amy Walsh, and my company, and if I scroll through my roles list, I will be able to see Smartlist Builders. This user has power of user role, so it's just indicating that the role is already marked for this user, which is okay as well. But I'm going to check off Smartlist Builders, and I'm going to click Save. Now this particular user has access to build Smartlist. Okay, now I'm going to go into, we're going to create a new Smart List. And like I said before, there are multiple ways to create a new smart list. One of those ways is to use the functionality in Smartlist Builder, where you can actually pick the tables and assign the tables, or you can use a SQL view. The first we're going to look at is creating a new smart list using this Smartlist Builder functionality. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to create a smart list that we're going to use for 1099 vendor totals. Sometimes it's easier to look at, and I'm going to talk about 1099 just for a second. Sometimes it's easier to create a 1099 report using Smartlist Builder in order to review your totals for your vendors that are your 1099 vendors. So let's go back over to our Dynamics GP. And what we're going to do first is we are going to go into the Smartlist Builder. We're going to talk about this as we build this. So if we go to Microsoft Dynamics GP, and then we'll go to Tools, and we're going to go to Smartlist Builder, and Smartlist Builder. And this is the Smartlist Builder window. And if you'll notice, just like all the rest of Dynamics GP windows, it has the File, Edit, Tools, View, Options, and Help. You'll have the Save, Clear, Delete, the Go To button. Remember this button because we're going to talk about it a little later. There's Restrictions, Calculations, and Options. Now here on the Smartlist ID, what we want to do is we want to create maybe a 1099 vendor information info. Okay, now the Smartlist ID is just what it is. It is it's an ID that's used to look up different smart lists that you build. Now, this is not the smart list name that you will see in your smart list folder. That is actually the second field here, which is smart list name. And I want to call this 1099 vendor information. If you notice, actually I hit tab and the item name drop down in the field below it. The product itself is going to be Microsoft Dynamics GP, and since this is my 1099 vendors, I'm going to actually put this in the purchasing area or the purchasing series. So I'm going to click on purchasing. Okay, so my next step is to go down to my tables. If you notice, there is a field down in the bottom left. It says tables. There is a plus, there is a minus, and there is an edit. So if I want to add a table, I just click the plus. If I remove a table, I click the minus. So when I click the plus here, I go to Microsoft Dynamics GP table. If you notice, there's a SQL Server table as well. We're going to get to that a little later, but for now, we're going to click on the Microsoft Dynamics GP table. And you'll notice Add Table comes up into the window. Our product is still Microsoft Dynamics GP. Now, if you're building other types of smart lists, you can click the drop down, and you'll have access to things like SafePay if you're using SafePay, kind of Maker, and any kind of payroll if you have payroll. But for us today, we're going to use the Microsoft Dynamics GP. We're using series, the purchasing series, and we are looking for the table, and it's called Purchasing 1099 period detail. So if I scroll through my list, there we go, Purchasing 1099 period detail. And you'll notice I have some key fields that drop down within these particular in my window. These key fields are fine. This is just what's on this particular table. It's a 1099 box number, type, period, and whatnot. So I'm going to click Save here. And then for my second table, because I'm going to kind of create a little bit of a join here, because the Purchasing 1099 period detail only has the detail for the 1099s. It doesn't have my vendor information. So I want to add my my vendor information. And the way I do that is by selecting, again, through the Microsoft Dynamics GP table, I am going to select my PM vendor master file. So once again, I got the product, series, purchasing, and table, and I am looking for PM vendor master file. So I'll scroll through here. All right, and if you notice, it already links the table to Purchasing 1099 period detail that we've selected previously. It knows where to link the fields. Is linking it on a field called Vendor ID, that's okay, because when you add all of these tables, it already knows which fields to link together. And what we're going to do is just click Save here. Now, once I click Save to add those two tables together, you will notice that all the fields actually populated on the area to the right. You have vendor ID, vendor name, check name, short name, address, tax registration number, just tons and tons and tons of information. Now, do I want to use all this information? Not really. I don't want a smart list that's going to be 100 columns long. So I'm going to go through and I'm just going to pick what I want to actually default into my smart list. Now you'll notice it says display and all the boxes are checked, and that's totally fine. But what I want to do is I want to select what I want defaulted into my smart list. So you can either go through and check the boxes for the field names that you want, or if you notice there is a drop down next to the default. There's actually one next to the display. If you click on the arrow next to the default, you'll notice there's a mark all and unmark all. So if I marked all, you'll notice it marks all for the default. Unmark all, unmarks all. There is also a show details arrow. So if I click that arrow, there's some additional information regarding the field that is available to me. Now what I want to do is I am actually going to pick a few, selecting my table. I'm going to start with selecting purchasing 1099 period detail. And then by doing that, I want to select as a default my vendor ID, my 1099 type, my box number. But please note that for the 1099 box number, when it pulls this particular data from a 1099, it's going to have a number like number 7. It's going to have the box number. It's not going to say, okay, this is miscellaneous 1099 information. It's going to have number 7. 1099 amount, I definitely want that. Period ID, and then I'll also have year. So now I want to pick go to my PM vendor master file, and I also want to select maybe vendor name, my check name. Let's see, what else do we want? Addresses, city, state, zip code. There's a tax ID number in here I want. Tax ID number. Yes. Okay, I believe that's all the fields that we want. Let's add vendor contact in there as well. Okay. Okay, so once we've selected the fields that we want to show or the headers we want to show in our smart list, the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to actually create a restriction on these. So what I'm going to do is, excuse me, I'm going to go up to restrictions here and click on the arrow, the plus box there. I am going to select my purchasing 1099 detail, my 1099 amount, and then what I want to do is I want to pull in my 1099 amounts that are actually greater than 0, because if not, I'm going to have a lot of data that has 0 in it. So I'm going to click save on my restriction. I just clicked, just created, and then I'm going to click OK. Alright, so I also want to go to my options and set some priorities on my different fields here. So my purchasing 1099 detail, I'm going to go to options, and I'm going to go to summary smart list. And also notice on your options window that you have a multi-company smart list. And by selecting this option for multi-company smart list, it will actually pull the data across different company databases into one smart list. So just be kind of cautious of that. I've seen people where they have created a smart list, click this button, and they wonder why their data looks funny. Well, that's because they're actually incorporating multiple companies into their data. So you want to make sure that, if you want to use this particular smart list for this company only, that you do not check the multi-company smart list. Now in my options, I want to for the 1099 box, for the summary type, I actually want to do a group by. So if I double click on, highlight and double click on 1099 box number field, for now it says count, but what I want to do is just group by. And what this does is it actually allows us to create a summary or a sum of the um, the box number, not a sum, but I want it to pull in only number 7s or only number 3s for the different box numbers. So on the 299 box number and 299 box type, we're going to go through each one and make these group bys. Now the 1099 amount, we want to actually leave that as sum, so that will total all the 1099 amounts for the vendor. Okay, so next what I want to do is click on my PM vendor master file. And I want to go down to I need to go through each one of these fields and actually change the count to maximum. And what the maximum is going to do is give me the maximum value, or return the maximum value within the group of data. If you notice, I'm not doing all of these because I do not want all these fields to show up in my smart list, so I am going to remedy that. Okay, so let's use that and let's just save. Okay. Okay, so once you have your smart list, once you do the final step where you put in the additional parameters, whether you want to sum a field or group by or maximum, what we're going to do is just save this smart list. And remember that I selected the series for purchasing, so when I go to find my smart list, I'm going to actually go to the purchasing folder. So I'm going to click save here. And because I was the creator of this particular smart list, I'll have access to view it. So I'm going to go over to Smartlist, and you'll notice that when you create a new smart list, it's going to say Smartlist Builder has detected changes to be made. Do you want to make these changes now? Go ahead and click yes. It'll go through the little progress bar. Now I'm going to go over to Purchasing, and I should see 299 vendor info. This is the smart list name that I gave for this particular smart list. If you notice, I can expand the folder, and there is my little smart list. And there is my data that I have for my vendors. This is a total data. This is the vendor ID, 299 type, there's miscellaneous, period ID, 299 box number, vendor check names, contact addresses, zip code. And and this particular 299 amount is the total for my particular vendor. So that's the first type. And now, if I was satisfied with my smart list, then what I can do, and I want other users to be able to use the smart list, I need to actually grant them security. So if I go to Microsoft Dynamics GP, and then I go over to Tools and Setup and System, and go over to the security task. Now, it depends on how you want to distribute information. Some people feel more comfortable with creating a task and a role per different type of smart list, or you could create one overall role and say, okay, these are, new smart list, or call it smart list, and every time you create one, you can assign the smart list to this particular task, and whoever has access, or whoever has access to the role that incorporates this particular task will always have access to all this new smart list. However, some information is probably a little bit more sensitive than others, so I like to use a little bit added precaution. So for this particular task, or this new smart list, I'm going to call this 1099, let's start off calling it smart list 9 information, and then I'm going to call this 1099 vendor information. The product is actually going to be Smartlist. The type is going to be the Smartlist object, and then in the series we're going to select Smartlist objects. And you'll notice in here, this is actually how we give access to people, or take away access to certain smart lists for just the canned smart list, and also for the smart list we build in Smartlist Builder. You'll notice there's my 1099 vendor info smart list I just built. So I check the box and click save. Now I'm going to go over to the roles, and I'm going to call this Smartlist 299. Okay. Smartlist. Okay, and then once I have my role set up, what I'll do is just select my task, my 1099 smart list here, and I'm going to click save. Then my next step is going to be assign my role to my user. So if we go over to user security, we'll pick my user, and there's the company, and we should be able to find, there's Smartlist 1099 info. Now, the reason why I start my roles or my task out using the same naming convention as Smartlist, let's say Smartlist 299 info, that's so that, if I'm creating additional smart lists, or, I'll have several of them out there, I want to kind of group or keep them all together so I can pick and choose, or take away or add to as I please. So check the box for Smartlist 299 info, and let's click save. And now the other user, the A. Walsh user, can log in and actually see that particular smart list. All right. So just a quick review there. What we want to do is, when you grant access to the new smart list, we want to go to Microsoft Dynamics GP, Tools, Setup, System, Security Task. We want to, create a task, assign the task to the role, assign the role to the user, and then you should be good to go. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is creating a smart list using a SQL view. Now, here are the steps to do that, and we want to review them really quickly. First of all, using the SQL Studio, you need to use the SQL Studio Manager to create your view. And first of all, you need to have access to SQL Studio Manager. And usually that's going to be a DBA or someone with SQL, or an IT person to do that, or people with SQL experience that you want to be doing that particular function. So if you are the person that has access to SQL, you want to remember to grant access to the Dyn group. And we're going to see that in the script that I have available that I'm going to run. And then the second thing you want to do is follow the steps that we did before. Where in Dynamics GP, we want to grant access to the view. We want to grant access to the view for the company database. And the path to do that is the Microsoft Dynamics GP tool, Smartlist Builder Security, SQL Table Security. Next, what we're going to do is create the smart list using Smartlist Builder. And then we're going to grant the user access to Smartlist through Dynamics GP Security. And how we're going to do that, we're going to create the task, assign the task to role, and assign the role to the user or users. So now if I go back over to Dynamics GP, I am going to minimize this. And I already have a script set up for me. And this particular script is used for, it's something that we created to pull fixed asset data from a table called FA00902, which houses the fixed asset transactions along with the account indexes, or and we're going to link that, or we have in our script here, link that to the general ledger table. So what I'm going to do is I already have open up down here Microsoft the SQL Server Management Studio. So I'm going to open for a new query. And since we're using Fabricam, I'm going to select my to database. I'm just going to copy and paste my query into here. And this is a create view query, and you'll notice when I said, make sure you grant access to this particular view to the dying group. This is what I was talking about at the bottom. Make sure you have this in your query. So we're going to execute that on the TWO access, and for some reason that did not work because, okay, we're going to take that out. Okay, that'll work. Try that again. Command's completed successfully. And so now I've created my view. So the next thing I want to do is I want to go over to Microsoft Dynamics GP and actually grant security access to my view. So if I go to Microsoft Dynamics GP and Tools, I'm going to go to Smartlist Builder. And you'll notice down here at the bottom there's a security. So security and SQL table security is what I want to select. This is also where you give if you have multiple companies set up, you'll want to give access to different views and tables as necessary. So for our TWO, which is Fabricam, I want to select the button for views, and I can scroll down, and I'm looking for there's my IBIS fixed asset view that I just created. So I'm going to select that view. I'm going to click OK. And that's how I give security access to the company for Dynamics GP. Now I'm going to go over to Smartlist Builder, Dynamics GP Tools Setup. Smartlist Builder, and I am going to call this how about FATRX for fixed asset transactions. I'm going to call this fixed asset transactions. And in my product, I should have in here a fixed assets folder. And then over here in my tables, I'm going to click my add table, and then I'm going to also select SQL Server table. We talked about this a little earlier. So we're going to select the databases for TWO, and I'm going to click Views, and then I'm going to select my IBIS fixed asset view that I just ran on SQL. I'm also going to select my Use Company database, and the reason why is because I wanted to use this particular company database. I do need a key field in here, so I'm going to select the Add Key field and select the Asset ID, because I need at least one key field in there. And normally, if you're dealing with a lot of SQL, you'll notice there's maybe a primary key, which is the Asset ID, or a GL index or something of that nature. So I'm just going to add in the Asset ID. I'm going to click Save, and then here are the fields that I had in my view. So I want all of these in my smart list, so I'm going to click Default and go Mark All. Now what I want you to see in here, and this also applies to the smart list that you build using the tables or the Smartlist Builder functionality, is that if you click this Show Details button on the top right, you'll notice that it will open up more information on each one of the fields. Each one of these fields is identified as a string, integer, string. Okay, And in some of the fields, it recognizes whether or not it's maybe a currency or a number or maybe an amount. Now, one thing I will say about the your scripts that you run to create your views, if you notice in here how this particular script has in here, it has, here's my table and my description, what I want to call, like here's the asset code, these are headers. What you don't want to do is you don't want to try to format your headers in your code. I mean, don't try to format it as a number, don't try to format it as an amount, because what happens is when you go and build your smart list, you will not have, the numbers, first of all, won't come out as currency, or it won't have, the dollar sign in front of it. The decimal places will, be off or wrong. It'll have more decimal places than you want. So you want to leave that stuff out of your code and just, bring it in as SQL allows it. Now, for this is a year-to-date depreciation amount. So obviously, yes, this is going to be an amount or currency. Now you can actually click on the display name and then click the blue arrow next to the display name, and this will open up the set field options. And what you can do is it gives you additional ability or presentation that you can use for your amount. This display has show currency symbol. This is an amount. Do I want to show a currency symbol? Yes. And by showing the currency symbol, when I export it, it will export into Excel with the currency symbol as well. If I wanted to show a percentage symbol, or if I wanted to make changes, you can check the boxes to make these changes. Show thousand separator, I want that as well. Then you have decimal places, 2 decimal places based on field. If you want to go out decimal places, you can. Negative values, if you have negative values, you can format those in this window as well. Okay. The same thing with like dates on the date field. If you notice, this is a GL transaction date. It does know that the data that it is looking at is actually a date. Same thing as well. If I want it to display as a short date, I can, or a long date, or a day. You have several different options in here. What a lot of us find is that it's easier for the people who know SQL or know it very well, or the tables or Dynamics GP tables very well. It's easier for them to actually use the SQL view to create a smart list or a new smart list than it is to actually go through the Smartlist Builder functionality itself. In saying that, though, you kind of have to use what you know. So most people, if they're more comfortable with using Smartlist Builder functionality, they'll go that route. If you're more familiar with SQL, then normally people will choose to create a view in order to build a smart list out of that. So once I have my smart list together here and all my fields that I want, all you do is you just click Save. And then once again, I'm going to go over here to Microsoft Dynamics GP and go to Smart List. And Smartlist Builder has detected changes to be made. Do you want to make changes now? Yes, I do. So I should be able to open up my fixed assets and go to my new folder. It says Fixed Asset Transactions, and click on my Fixed Asset Transactions, and here's my new Smart List. My asset ID, description, furniture, I have year-to-date information, I have the amount. And the great thing about this particular smart list, the reason why while we created it, it has a source document in here, which these are all my additions. I can query on or select my GL account number. But if you also notice that when we created this smart list, there's my cost basis. It has a dollar sign, and in the amount it also has a dollar sign. These were These were actually formatted in Smartlist Builder, so just be aware of that. Now, once again, once I have my Smartlist built, only since I built it, I have access to it. So what I want to do, if I want to have other users use this particular Smartlist, then I need to give them access. So if I go to Microsoft Dynamics GP and Tools, Setup, System, and once again, here's my security task, and this is my Smartlist. I'm just going to call it FA, Smartlist, fixed assets. I am going to put it in the category, what did it say, financial. Now we're going to head down to product, and we're going to find our Smartlist again. We're going to type, which is Smartlist object. The series, Smartlist objects once more, and then we're going to find our fixed assets, and I missed it there. Okay, fixed asset transactions, Smartlist. Check the box, click Save, close the window, Microsoft Dynamics GP. We're going to set up, and then we're going to system, and we're going to create the role for it. All right. I'm going to scroll down here and find my Smartlist FA, and if you notice that because I keep the naming convention the same, they're all kind of grouped in the same area. I'm going to click Save, and then I'm going to add this Smartlist to my user. Tools, System, User Security. I'm going to pick my user and my company, and I'm going to go down to the Smartlist FA and click Save. So that's create a Smartlist. All right, so that is actually creating a Smartlist using the view. I'm sorry, it's a SQL view. Now what we're going to do is go really quick through what we have here is called, the go-to function. People like the go-to function because it already exists in Smartlist, and if you use Smartlist, then you know that when you query a Smartlist and you double-click on the line, that you can actually drill back to a particular window, which is really really neat kind of function. We're going to show you how to create that in a Smartlist, and since we're kind of running out a little bit tight on time, I'm going to go ahead and show you what I've already created for this, and you'll be able to go back and go through the steps yourself. Now, people ask, I've asked about the go-to function quite a bit. If you need detailed steps, I don't want to say Google, but you can go out to the internet and actually do a search or go through a search engine and type in, go-to function for Dynamics GP Smartlist Builder. And there are a lot of different blogs and a lot of information out there that is all written down that you can print out, and you can go through the steps and actually use this to create the go-to function in your Smartlist. So if I run over here to my Dynamics GP real quick here, and I actually created a Smartlist earlier in, if I can find it real quick. I actually created a Smartlist in sales. Yeah, actually I put it in system, but it's a sales transaction entry window is what my end result is. I want to show you my Smartlist first so you'll understand what I'm talking about when I say the go-to function. I created a Smartlist, and I can double click on this particular Smartlist, and you notice that it drills me back to the sales transaction entry window. Now, in order to do that, you have to put the function on the smart list. So if I go to Microsoft Dynamics GP, Tools, Setup, Tools, Smartlist Builder, Smart List, I actually have, go to my SOP test here. And what I did is I added this table, this sales transaction work table, just like I did in the first example that I showed you. Now, what I want to do is click on the Go To button here at the top. This is how I add my Go To button, my Go To window. Now, what you'll see is you'll have a Smartlist ID. You'll actually have to put in what you want to call your Smartlist ID, and then you'll click the Add button. And then from the Add button, you'll click, Open Form. And so since I already have my SOP test here, I'm going to go click on it and click Edit so you can kind of see what we did. Now, this particular form requires 3 different tasks. The first task is to set the value of a field, which is the SOP type. So what we did is we put in the description. It's already here. We selected our product as Microsoft Dynamics GP. Our series is sales, and our form is sales transaction entry. And for this, for each one of your smart lists, depending on what it is, if it's purchasing or fixed assets or financial, you have to select the correct series, because selecting the correct series enables you access to the correct form. Okay, so if I selected something different, it's not going to give me the sales series windows. It's going to give me something different. So you can do the drop down for the form field and select sales transaction entry window, or select something different. And then from there, what happens is I just click on the add field, and then what it does is it says the task type. So what I do is go in and set the field is I have to run the, is that right? Yeah. Okay, so run the field script, and then I have to put in a selected field that is called the L-Tim type. And it is about halfway down. There you go. And what I did is I selected a field called the L-Tim type, and I just click Save. A lot of this information that I got, and a lot of this information that you get in order to either learn or find out which tasks set up. You can actually just, like I said, go out to either the Microsoft website, or find a search engine for Dynamics GP, and it'll give you this information of how to select or add different types of windows and which task types and fields you need to add. If I actually sit here and went through each one of the fields and the values, it would actually take a whole another probably 3 webinars to do it. So, but for this particular SOP window, the task type, the first one you want to add, by going to add, you want to do the field is the SOP type and the value is the SOP type. And then the second one, you want to set the value field of L-Tim type and the value of SOP type. The third one is a set value field, set value and run the field script. The field L-Tim control number in the table is sales transaction work, and the value is actually the SOP number. And then you just click Save. And you want to add these 3 tasks to the open forum. And then what you'll do is just click Save. And then once you have the go-to set up, which is the SOP test, is what I called it, go down to the bottom for the default go-to, and you actually want to select the SOP test. After that, then you want to just click OK. From there, what you'll do is just go over to the top toolbar and click Save. The other buttons up here I want to discuss really quickly here. If you have a smart list that you need to get rid of, or something you built, or something you're not using anymore, you can most definitely go into Smartlist ID and then just click Delete. It's that simple. Okay, so we're going to go and save that and go back over to, I put it. And if you notice anytime you make changes to your smart list through Smartlist Builder, then Smartlist Builder will notice the changes and it will ask you, and then it will update. And since I stuck this over in the sales transaction entry window, so once you added your window, like I said, you can go in here and double click on the line item, and it will drill you back to the sales transaction entry window. Okay, so I think that is about our hour. I know this was a brief. This is kind of a basics of Smartlist Builder, just to kind of get you a little bit more familiar with and in tune to what Smartlist Builder can do for you. Okay, well, great. Well, thank you for joining us today on behalf of IBIS Inc., and we hope to see you at our next webinar.